and welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. I'm your host, Vaughn Purdy, and I'm pleasantly happy to have a special guest with us today, soon to be Dr. Phyllis Clark, who is our Vice President of Student Services at Simmons College of Kentucky. Welcome, Phyllis.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here.
In this week's edition, we want to talk a little bit about our bread and butter of the college, if you will.
Okay.
All things students.
Yes.
And we want people to know all about our students and the services that are provided to educate our students here at Simmons College of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, look, I'm happy to be here and to represent Simmons College of Kentucky, our 107th HBCU. We're very proud of that distinction. And so let's see, so student services, this is really interesting, and I'm glad we're providing this platform to start helping other folks in the community to understand what student services does.
Yes.
And so I guess I'll just start briefly with the department, the division. And so I've been at Simmons, let's say 6 years now.
Okay.
And prior to that, I served at the University of Louisville for 17 years in doing this work.
Right.
And so my love for students will forever be there. I was someone who said when I was 15 years old that I wanted to be Dean of Women, not even knowing what a Dean of Women is.
Right.
You know, I just saw my mother working at the illustrious University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Go Lions. And so, so I've been seeing this HBCU-ness, if that's a word. I like to make up words.
That is a good word.
I've been seeing all of this my entire life. Both of my parents went to an HBCU. Even my grandmother went to AM&N College, which is now the UAPB. And so being able to have a chance to work in higher ed has been one of my passions in life, and I'm so proud that the president asked me to be a part of this team. We have a beautiful student services team that is working hard every day. And so just to get down in the weeds a little bit more, when we think about student services, that truly is what it is.
Yes.
And so what we decided to do was to close in our student affairs and our enrollment management into one department. Yes, we're a small institution, so we can do that. And so what's been unique about that is being able to bring all of us together as a team of 10 to service all of the students on our campus right now. And so we have a department that divides into, everyone understands admissions, right? Admissions and recruitment, but also under this umbrella is financial aid.
Yes.
That's where our Pell Grant gets processed through that.
I remember the
department.
long lines at financial aid.
I know.
I am a graduate of an HBCU as well, so those lines got to be long. But it was a great way to get to know your fellow students.
Very much so. I know you're wondering, like, if y'all don't have lines right now because you're virtual, how are you taking care of that? I'm gonna tell you that in a second. And so we also house our registrar. And that's where all of the registration processes and operations flow through to get our students enrolled properly. Let's see, we have our food service and management under this operation. Again, that's on the student life, student experience side, but we're all one big happy cluster of service. Let's see, I'm leaving out a couple. Orientation, getting students to understand who Simmons is, and why we're here, rich history, and tradition, things like that. Let's see, who else is there? Our career services, headed by Deborah Mayberry. I haven't been calling names, but hopefully there's something that our audience can look at to kind of profile something that we're doing for the students virtually right now.
Can you speak also about the student life piece? What students get to, how students get to enjoy what's the tradition of the HBCU life.
Yes. So let's say pre-COVID, we were able to build up our services and experiences such that there would be RSOs, which is registered student organizations. A lot of people are familiar with that. So that encompasses to Greek life organization, sociology club, all of the clubs and the societies that we offer. And when I just stop for a second and think about how Simmons has grown just in the last 5 years, our president is responsible for the way Simmons has illuminated over the course of his tenure. And this has actually brought about a lot of the changes that, we're seeing right now unfold in our very eyes. I mean, we're for this fall 2020 term, we are virtual.
Right.
And
like most
virtual
schools
means, for us, it means all of our courses are being offered online, and it's remote work. So our non-resident students who live out of state, out of Kentucky, or just maybe not in Louisville, are able to access their courses. Now, it's been a bumpy road, and with everything new, especially technology, there is a challenge, and we understand that. So we're working with our students as well as we can, for them to understand how all of this works and how to still be successful, because this is new to quite a few of them.
Well, tell us how many students we were able to. COVID happened in March.
Right.
We all were suddenly just stopped.
Yes.
And we had to, how did that impact the college? I know there had to be steps taken to make sure students finished up the semester. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then how we flowed into the new year of 2020?
Yeah. Sure. And this was interesting for us, and I say that because things kind of started going awry around March the 8th.
Yes.
And by the end of that week, we were sending messages to the student body speaking to an extension of your spring break. Okay. So while that was, okay, we can take
extra time, I'll take it.
I was talking to the students, and they were like, all right, so let us know what's next. And so the leadership feverishly got together, made some quick decisions, thoughtful decisions. And so we were meeting a lot to discuss, as everybody was, on their campuses. And so we came up with an idea to go remote, and that we had to give it a try. The health and the safety of our students and faculty and staff was paramount.
Yes.
And that was at the forefront of all of our intentions. And so we knew it was going to be a bumpy ride. Just out of the gate, we had to, be ready for a different type of experience. Whereas when we started in January, it was in-person communication. So I'm glad the spring break buffer was there, because that meant students were already kind of at home where they were going to be, for the rest of the term. Or already snuggled away in their apartments and just waiting for information to trickle to them. So we got through the term. Not as many people withdrew or decided to do things differently. So as hard as it was, I praise our students. I commend everyone for getting through that time. And what it did was to prepare us for the decisions that came in the summertime, which we continued, and then for the fall, which has been the biggest experience yet in terms of all of this.
Now, does Simmons plan to continue to stay off the rest of 2020, or is that still going to be discussed through the remainder of the year, this semester?
So the president and our upper administration have made the decision that we will be virtual for the entire fall 2020 term. And that's good, because everybody needs to know how to operate.
Yes.
We still have deadlines to meet. We still have things that we're doing inside of this term that are required, our students, and meeting federal aid guidelines and deadlines, things like that. So we're good. The term will not even end until we did move the dates around a little bit, so the end of November, so going into Thanksgiving.
So the good news is you don't have to necessarily worry about COVID outbreaks with students coming back into town that are happening at some of the major campuses across this country.
I know, right?
Yep. So that is actually a pretty good strategy.
Right, so, I was just reading 1,000 students at Alabama.
University of Dayton, University of North Carolina State, all of Georgia Tech, all of the colleges. Larger colleges,
even in our own region, there are students who are dealing with the impact of all of this, and so. But now, this does not mean that we don't still help to inform our students on how, what the CDC guidelines are saying, and what we want our students to do when they do need. So our campus is not closed.
Right. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you all are virtually communicating with the students.
Yes. So. Again, the campus is not closed. This means that the library is open.
Yes.
It means that if you need to meet face to face with someone, you're able to do that, but we're requiring certain things like appointments, phone calls. Maybe you can get a quick answer with a
Yes.
text. And so our doors are still open, but there are protocols,
Right.
just as other business are having to
This would
operate.
be a good time to show everyone,
Oh, okay. Yes.
like everyone
I want one.
across the country, we have our Simmons College of Kentucky mask. So everyone who comes on campus is required to wear one of these.
Yes.
That includes the students, faculty, staff,
Right.
administrators, everyone. So we want to, I think these were designed by Mama
K.
Mama K.
Yes, our dance instructor.
Our dance instructor designed these. So I want to say thank you, Mama K, for putting these together for us. And these have been quite helpful.
Yes.
So now, if you would just tell us more about the virtual experience for our students.
Well, we have been looking as a team. So student services team is comprised of, like I said, 7 to 10 people. There's some other folks that we've adopted on our team that we just love so much who do this work. So when we think about what our students need, and a lot of other areas on campus have adopted, this theme as well. We want to continue to engage in what we call high impact practices. And when you think about what that is and how to make that virtual, well, you're going to have to get just a little creative.
Yeah.
So there are some platforms that we're now starting to engage with, maybe for a little while, or maybe even after things get a little bit better and we have more in-person contact, we'll continue. But for right now, we have something called Bubble Up. And if you have not looked at that, if you all out there haven't heard of that platform, go look at it. There's so many things out there that you can do to engage with your groups and your audiences. And so this is called Bubble Up. It's spelled a little differently. And what we decided to do was to take all of our offices virtual too. If the students are learning virtually, then we need to be accessible virtually.
Yes.
And so I'm getting ready we've been in session now for 2 weeks, and things are settling down, and folks are working and in class. So our offices are online via this platform, and people can kind of walk into the virtual office if they want. And so if you go to the platform, you go in our space, you'll see all of our areas there. So there's the division lead for that particular department. And then you'll go in and you'll see announcements, you'll see updates, information, you can ask questions, you can comment, and then you can even have offline communication if necessary. So we're trying to get creative.
Right. So everything you need is there. So
yes,
students can reach out for all the questions.
This all just kind of started. We're trying to be more creative in how we connect with the students. So if there's a Simmons student who's watching this right now, you're like, Ms. P, I don't know anything about Bubble Up yet. I'm like, it's coming to you.
It's coming.
And this actually leads into one of the biggest initiatives that we're going to do, because we know our students need love. They need care. They need checking on. I mean, some of them might be out there feeling isolated, like they don't know what to do, who to contact. They're not in this alone. And I don't want to just tell Simmons students this. I want to tell all students this. You are not alone in this educational endeavor. And what we have decided to do is to continue some outreach that's more personal in nature. So we are starting what we're calling a family affair. Okay. Because when you think about the HBCU experience, you got an auntie over in this administration building, you got a cousin over here in environmental services, and you got BFFs all over the place.
And someone who knows your name and knows you intimately.
Really is a family.
That's the HBCU experience.
I love it. That's a hookups and connections, and even when you need to walk somebody off the ledge because they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just not getting it. This technology, this. There are going to be some times where you're going to be asked to make some choices about some things. You don't have to do that by yourself. Okay. And so we're there. We're trying to be there the best we can.
So what would you say is the greatest challenge? You seem to be managing it well, but what has been some of your challenges and things that you know that you have to overcome? Or
Well, if you've been listening to our president, then you're going to know that HBCUs are under-resourced. We are underfunded. It's just a lot of unders, and so to him and to the administration, to the students, it's almost like we're overcoming, we're building, we're fun, we're doing all of these things, and we're being challenged in a lot of ways just as an institution that some others are not. But guess what? We're still doing it. We're still educating our students. We're still graduating our students debt free. And so I say we're doing what it is that we have been called.
Yes.
You know, we just need more people to understand the Simmons story.
Yes.
And
which is the purpose of Falcon Focus.
yes.
To help help the audience understand that we are here in the backyard of Louisville.
Yes,
that we
right
are
here.
vibrant, we are growing, but we still need your support and your help. But we are here.
Yes.
But our biggest mission is to educate our students
Yes, it is.
in the urban context so they will be productive citizens and agents of change.
Agents of change.
And that gets us all up and gets us all revved up. As a product of an HBCU myself,
yes.
I love to see us all pour into these students because someone poured into me.
Right.
And
right.
the person you see now, I am who I am because, of course, by the grace of God, but also by the help of the HBCU and the pathway it set me on. So I'm excited to be a part of this and to be a part of our students nurturing and growing. And I love to see my fellow family members do the same thing. I think we're all a family and we're making a huge difference to these students. And I think our students feel loved, they feel warm, they feel like this is a family and that we're all here to support them.
Right,
So
right.
Phyllis and her team do an excellent job and they continue to do this every day because they have intimate relationships with students, which is what an HBCU is all about.
Right,
So-
right. And even though we're having to work remotely,
Yes.
you know, we're in and out. We have certain hours that we're keeping. Others of us might be working from home, but not a day goes by that we do not communicate with anywhere from 1 to 20 students. You know, if it calls for it, they
Yes.
have to know that we're there.
Yes.
And I know sometimes it gets challenging because I may not be able to get through to this person right now at this time, or my email needs to, you know, things do happen.
Yes.
Okay. And I want our students to know that they need to continue to persist.
Yes.
Yes, they do. We are with them. We're going to continue to persist. And, you know, I love how the president also talks about, you know, you're going to either pay now and play later, or you're going to play now and pay later. But either way, you're going to pay. So just know that. And so the complexities of this time are, I don't know, they're just something to really be wrestling with.
Yes.
And I know that our students and all of these things, I keep looking on my timeline in Instagram and Facebook and see where some students and other colleagues and people that I know are talking about 2020, you know, 2020 ain't it. And, you know, let's dismiss it in a trash bag and all of that. I'm like, we might feel that way because of everything that's going on, but there's still something to be said for what's left.
Right.
And what we're going to do with the rest of the months for 2020.
Yes.
You know,
And actually how we're persevering through
Yeah,
it.
right.
Through it. We are getting through it. And it's with
We're
the
getting
help
through
of
it.
people who are nurturing and
Yes,
caring
and it's with
that we're able to
each
get
other.
our students through it.
Yes. And you, Vaughn, you have gone above and beyond your call of duty with your support of this school and this work. And so I don't know if I'm
That's
supposed
really
to be
nice of
saying
you to
that, but
say.
guess what? I'm going to say
It's
it.
really nice of you to say. I'm excited.
No, seriously. So a
'Cause-
lot of our funding and some other supports have come because of the tireless work that you do in the community. So we appreciate you and we thank you.
Oh, that's so nice of you to
So-
say. It's a labor of love
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Again, I know where these students have come from. I know their goals. I know what they want to do, and I'm here to help. And it's
Yes.
just, it's work that I never thought I'd do, but I enjoy every day of it. It gets me out of bed, and it gets me. I mean,
Yes,
it's
you
so.
will not. You will hesitate to text me at 7 a.m. to ask me this question, and I
do.
try to be on
I
it for
start
you
right
too.
up in the morning because somebody sends something to me first thing in the morning. I was like, okay, they must know I'm available. And one more thing I wanted to ask you about. Speaking of that, people are calling me now. They always
Okay.
want to know how we can help.
Yes.
So one of the initiatives we have on campus is our
Yes.
initiative, the food pantry.
Our food pantry.
We are still working with students to feed those who are here in town, and we have to give some props to Julian Sam.
Yes. Let's
who's-
give him big
Yes,
props.
who through it all, through the end of start of COVID, COVID hadn't ended, but end of the semester.
Yes.
He made sure students were fed,
Yes.
and we're doing it again.
Yes, we
so
are.
if people are watching us and they want to know how they can help, we are still going to be feeding about 50 or 60 students beginning next week. And we are going to need the help of people to help us do that. because we will be putting together food bags and baskets to make sure they are taken care of during this time.
Very much so. But let me tell you this, I don't know if you knew, but not just with the food, he is someone who loves talking about the HBCU experience. And when you think about the holistic way that in which we look at our students, it's not just about food, it's about a lot of other things. And so we are now giving title to that. And you know how Falcon has talents, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, we have organized, well, mainly him, has organized this new space called Talons. And it's all inclusive of clothes, jackets, shoes, you know, other non-perishable items, and just all types of things that our students need, you know, as students.
And some of our donors have poured into it. And we had a donor that donated a new kitchenette. That we were able to reuse and refurbish and make it work for us, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we thank you the donor for doing that, and it was very appreciative, and it just really transformed the space. We've had some other gifts come in, and it really helps us continue our mission of not just educating, but nurturing and being the warm and strong HBCU that students need.
And you asked me a minute ago about how students can help us directly. I know people like to do that, or how others can help students directly. And if they just call the school and say, I want to be a part of a family affair, then that'll direct them directly to me or somebody on my team. And what we're going to do with that, there are 7 to 10 of us, and we're going to divide the entire student body. And what happens is I'll have a group of students that I'm going to take care of. So I look forward to cash apping somebody $10, or going out and helping get some groceries, you know, or giving a ride to some place. So it's the other needs that we're going to be helping our students with. Even those that are out of town, they still need help with some things that we can do here locally. You know,
because I always get phone calls from people. How can I help? How can I help? So I need to understand what's needed.
A family affair.
So how we can help. A family affair. So if you can't reach Phyllis, you can reach me. And I'm sure we could put our phone number up on the graphic, but we are always open. And always,
or they can just call the school. And just mention whatever the program is, and it'll be routed to the correct person.
So with students still in town, I guess one of the important things that we have to talk about here in Louisville is what our students are doing on their off time. We know during this time there's the civil unrest that's still going on in our community, and we suspect that our students are going to want to be somewhat engaged.
Suspect, they are.
Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. And so, you know, I appreciate our students' interest and their passion around social justice. You know, that is one of the tenets of our school.
And our president.
And so we are doing what we can to teach them how to peacefully protest, and the way in which they ask questions, or the way in which they, you know, demand attention around certain social ills. And so I'm really proud of them. We have a beautiful picture of one of our students. She was out on the front lines, Vaughn, and she had her message, and she had something else in her hand, and I think her son was with her, and or some other family members, and she was representing well. And you know, I know there's something to be said for the intensity of all of this. And you know, I'm not sure when this show will air, but we're still waiting after 5 months, you know, for a decision around the Breonna Taylor case. I understand what, you know, they are saying as to why these delays. I mean, I hear you. I don't necessarily understand it all, but I hear what you're saying. And so we're also trying to help our students to, you know, just assess what's being said, you know, and this is very emotional. It's very intense. It's very complex. Some people will argue that it's not. You just need to wait and hold on and listen and, you know, but we're teaching our students how to argue and how to think critically around all of these, you know, different types of issues. And I applaud them for getting out there. We have some upperclassmen who know how to get our students' attention and bring them together and speak to them about how they should operate. I love it. I'll call out one right now. His name is William Pennebaker. He's an upperclassman, and he's the president of our sociology club. And there is just a way that he has with his words that make our students, understand how to navigate through all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
These are definitely some trying times, but we have to understand that peaceful protest is a part of our right as citizens, and we have to teach this generation to carry this on and to hope to make change in a peaceful protesting manner.
I'll never forget when the president, he actually had a session, a workshop on how to peacefully protest. That was really interesting.
It is very important to pass it down to this generation, and hopefully we will see some significant change that we won't have to be protesting in the next 20 or 30 years, because we want change, but through peaceful protest. And we want to teach our students and the community that we want to be peacefully heard. I should say that. So I just want to applaud you, Dr. Clark, soon to be Dr. Clark, soon to be Dr. Clark, for coming. There's so much. Part of Falcon Focus is to let people know all the different things that are going on here. This is our platform to do so. So I'm pretty sure we will see you again on our show. And I want to say thank you again. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Falcon Focus. We hope you have learned something, and we hope you tune in to our next episode. Thank you.
A recent article in Newsweek cited that black colleges produce 70% of all black dentists and doctors, 50% of black engineers and public school teachers, and while HBCUs only account for 3% of the nation's colleges, they account for about 20% of the degrees awarded to African Americans. Did you know that 40% of the African American members of Congress, 50% of African American lawyers, and 80% of African American judges all graduated from an HBCU? Simmons College of Kentucky is just one of America's historically black colleges and universities that can help you pursue and realize your dreams. Simmons College of Kentucky, creating the next generation of thinkers.